Yeah?
You're on, mate.
Oh! What's brewing, coffee lovers? Welcome to the Caffeine Show. So is coffee cancerous? So it's the first thing we're going to cover in this story coming out of California at the moment. There's been a lot of media activity around a legal case in which it could potentially result in a mandatory cancer warning labels on all coffee cups and packaging. This comes from a law passed in 1986 in California called Proposition 65, requiring warning labels for all products containing chemicals known to the state to cause cancer or birth defects. One of these chemicals is acrylamide, a naturally occurring chemical compound, and while present in many foods, is also present in roasted coffee. Depending on the roast level and how you consume it, acrylamide in coffee is between 5 to 300 parts per billion. The only scientific study linking acrylamide and cancer was a study in rats and mice, where they were subjected to over 100,000 times the amount that's found in roasted coffee. At this moment, there is no scientific evidence that coffee causes cancer in humans. There is a scale ranging from Category 1, including activities such as smoking, where the evidence is convincing, to Category 4, where there appears to be no risk. Coffee has been downgraded to Category 3, which means it cannot be classified. How do you reduce your levels of acrylamide without giving up coffee? Well, thankfully, Arabica has somewhat less levels than Robusta. Unfortunately, darker roasts have less than lighter roasts, as the acrylamide actually burns off at higher temperatures. And part of the FDA report did mention that different preparation methods result in different levels of acrylamide. However, they don't dive into too much detail about this. But as the acrylamide is in the ground bean, a cleaner brew method like a Chemex or a V60 appear to be better. Brewed coffee is better than instant, and dry grounds have more acrylamide than brewed coffee, so at around 5 parts per billion. And the worst way I think you can really consume this is by eating coffee beans. Compared to other things, these are really, really low levels. I mean, you're looking at 678 parts per billion for Burger King hash browns, 1,265 for lightly salted kettle chips, and 2,500 for barbecue flavoured Pringles. Furthermore, moderate coffee drinking is considered safe, and 3 to 4 cups a day may have some health benefits according to a large review of studies in the BMJ. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. Is this reminiscent of your kitchen cabinet? Have you got too many brewing devices? Maybe you need this. This is the Trinity One Brewer. It claims to be a 3-in-1 brewer, but we think it replaces a lot more than that. It's a Chemex, a V60, an AeroPress, a cafetiere, a cold brewer. It can also act like a flat bottom brewer, like a Kalita. And because of the handle here, it could also work like a clever dripper. It's made of wood, powder coated stainless steel, and this espresso style handle that you can turn the flow on and off just by rotating the handle here. Inside there's a metal mesh, much like you'll find in a cafetiere. However, it's also the same size and compatible with AeroPress paper filters. The interesting thing also is that if I pull out this, the hole here is the same size that will take Hario V60 filters and Chemex filter papers. But the key is this is the 2¼ kilo weighted plunger, and this helps with the AeroPress and cafetiere and gives it a consistent push through the coffee. The chamber here takes around 250 mils of water, enough for a cup, but not really a big mug. And the one thing you'll need to remember is that this device is suspended. So you need to weigh your water first, as you can't have a scale to weigh your water with. The handle here does catch your grinds, it does make it a bit cleaner, but it doesn't produce that solid puck that you would get with an AeroPress. If you're just getting into coffee, this device will probably save you money on buying all those other brewers. This is also far more beautiful and compact, so it looks great in a kitchen. However, if you've already got that cupboard of old brewers, this doesn't really add anything to what you've currently got, apart from this plunger. Anyway, we'd love to know what you think of it. Do leave us a comment in the box below. Lastly, we come to this 4-pack that's been sent to us by Square Mile. And no, it's not a 4-pack of beer. Each one is a coffee of 175 grams and comes from a small or experimental lot from a farm in Costa Rica. Now, some of the highlights here include Now, Finca Paysan, this is one of the newest farms belonging to brothers Louis and Oscar Monge, who enjoy experimenting with exotic plantings on their small farm. This bean is an SL28, a coffee usually grown in Kenya. So we're interested to see what the flavours are going to be like with the different climate and soil. This is a white honey process, so it's a very light natural, and the sort of flavour notes are blackcurrant, grapefruit, Parma violets. Again, flavours typical of Kenyan coffees. Next up is this coffee from the Herbazu mill. Antonio Barrantes Zuniga is a bit of a legend in the specialty coffee community in Costa Rica. The Herbazu mill belongs to Antonio and his siblings, who each have their own plot on the family estate. One of his sisters, Lorena, has planted a few small experimental lots of different varieties on her farm, and one of them, this Rwandan Typica lot, stood out with really interesting flavours. They process the coffee as a black honey, which leaves a lot of the fruit pulp on the seed when drying, lending a lot of sweetness and fruity notes to the cup. Notes here are of black plum and cherry. Square Miles bought a fair few coffees in their time from Los Girasoles, the farm, and they were lucky enough to dip into some of their small varietal and processing trials that they've been tweaking over the past few years. This Typica has been processed as a natural, which is unusual in this part of Costa Rica, but it provides interesting flavours like orange, wine gums and Earl Grey tea. Lastly, this is a new Typica variant from the Ortiz farm. The family have had several Cup of Excellence awards under their belts and continually strive to improve their farming and milling practices while exploring new varieties and processes. This Typica Mejarado was developed by Nestlé in Ecuador to have a better yield and more resistant to leaf rust. It's being trialled in lots of small lots like this all around Central America. This is a yellow honey, and flavour notes on this one are Snickers and cola. Magic. And that's where we're going to end it today. If you like what we're doing here, please click that like button. And if you'd like to be kept up to date on new videos, then click that subscribe button. And if you haven't seen our last episode where we look at the niche coffee grinder and oat milks, then if you tap a screen just down there and you'll be able to watch that. Thanks very much for watching, and we hope to see you on the next video.